So you might be wondering, what's today's video on? Well, if you didn't look at the title, which you probably did, which would make complete sense. But yeah, this kind of gives you a hint of what we're doing. Balance. That's our focus for today. There's really something to take notice of when we're talking about balance. It is the center of everything. When we're talking about sports down to the core of martial arts, it's all about balance. Punches, kicks, takedowns, all centered around balance. So a very common thing that people actually don't know for those starting out in martial arts or combat sports is that we don't want to stand square. You see how my feet are just equivalent to my shoulders? We don't want that. Instead, we want a little bit of a stagger in our step. This stagger allows us to have a little bit of balance. Now, this is about shoulder width apart. Now, it may vary a little bit depending on comfort, but we want to have this stagger in the step. That way, we can move quick enough. We can't move like that if we're standing like this. It's going to be a bit harder to move around if we're standing square. Here's another example, you guys. Stand straight and have somebody kind of push you. Notice how easy it is for you to fall back. Now stand staggered and have somebody push you. That back leg is allowing stability. It gives you some room to balance. As you can see, as I've always told you guys, balance is key. Balance is key, and it comes from the feet to the hips. I will keep reiterating that because it's super, super important. So you may have noticed when you're at the gym and you're kicking the bag that it may seem a little awkward. You might not be kicking the bag hard enough and you're putting all your effort into it. It may not be because of how hard you're swinging your leg, but it may be because of your balance. Let me show you. All right, so let's imagine that there's a bag right here and you're right in front of it and you're kicking at it. Bam, bam. You see how my foot can't really turn over, but notice how the foot that's on the ground is moving. You see how there's no room for my hip to really move over? That's because your balance is off. Now the reason for that is, watch this. My foot is staying in that straight direction. It's pointed right at the bag itself. Instead of turning it, you see, that allows room for my hip to fold over. It's all about balance, and it allows that room to turn over. So you see how that simple little step can create a whole difference in balance and movement. It's all about that stability. All right, so while we're here, I also want to speak on another thing when it comes to kicks and balance. When you're throwing that kick and you're coming back, that is a very difficult task for new martial artists. Having the balance to throw that kick and retract it back into stance. So if you're a new martial artist, really, really work on throwing your kick and retracting it back and coming right back to stance. That'll help you tremendously when it comes to time for you to compete. You need to be able to throw that kick and whip it back so that you can return with combos as quickly as possible. So a quick little exercise that'll help you with that is throw that kick, hold it, and bring it back. Throw that kick, hold it, and bring it back. You're exaggerating it just a bit, just so you can get that extra bit of balance within the workout, all right? Another exercise that I like to do is that pick one leg up off the ground, go front, then side. Whew. There you go, front, and then side. Front, and then side. So what that does is, again, it forces your feet to adjust to the ground. It always starts at the feet. You'll feel it within your toes, within the soles of your feet. Focus on it. Focus on your feet. Your feet will tell before you go off balance. All right, so remember how I said it starts at the feet. Now it goes up from the feet to the hips. Now when you're throwing these kicks and you're throwing punches, the hips are important. It's kind of like your swiveling device. It's what keeps everything in motion. When your feet are moving, your hips are swaying and they're moving and they're trying to compensate for what your feet are doing. See, watch. See how my hips kind of go with my feet. It's never out of sync. My hips are always moving with the feet. So now I said it moves from the feet on up to the hips. Now the hips, that's what helps compensate. That's what moves with your feet. Are you noticing that? See how my hips are moving with the feet? That's where the balance comes from. It comes from the feet on up, from the ground on up. Everything moves with one purpose. Nothing is out of sync, because as soon as something is out of sync, as soon as something doesn't connect from the feet up to the hands themselves, your balance will be completely off. Then you won't get the power, you won't get the speed, you won't get the snap that you're looking for, because your balance is all off. I know we've all seen those street fights or videos that you'll see people kind of swinging and they're all over the place. They're like, their balance is all off. They're slipping, they're falling, and there's no punches being connected. That's because their balance is off. If you watch their feet look all scrambled. They're either standing squared, or they're standing too wide, or standing too close together, or it's just their balance just isn't right. Which kind of leads me to my next section of this video. This is kind of about when you're throwing punches, when you're throwing kicks, there's kind of a shift in your weight, which creates better balance as well. So typically boxers, they're kind of more on their front foot. They put more weight on their front foot. That allows them to snap their jabs kind of at an ease. If you notice that if you're kind of putting weight on that front foot a little bit, it'll give you that snap, rather than if you're on that back foot, it's kind of harder to get the same power, the same snap that you're looking for. All right, but let's say if we're in kickboxing terms, if we're in Muay Thai terms, they typically fight more on the back foot, on that back weight. Why? It's because they can throw their kicks, bam. They can just snap it out there. They don't have to worry about readjusting their balance and then throwing the kick. They're already there. They can already, boom, just throw the kick. It's already there for them. So the matter of balance is what you're looking for in the attack. If you're more of a head lead fighter, more of a boxer, then you're going to be more on that front foot. If you're more of a kickboxer, Muay Thai fighter, you're going to be typically more on that back foot, where you can just bam, where you can just bite. That is it for season 2, episode 2, balance. I just like to thank you guys again for those who followed this journey. Hey, we're getting up there. We are getting up there. I can't lie though, it's getting harder to come up with fundamental videos for you guys. We might have to take it up a notch. And so, yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.